So I had a good day today. I just went to go see the Russell Howard show, which he's a comedian. He's very, very funny, and yeah, I he always makes me laugh. And yeah, there's quite a lot of sexual jokes, but then again, I feel like that's probably the best thing because. I don't know. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of comedians that don't touch on sexual jokes, and then sometimes they go into I don't know, insulting territory, and therefore it's always safe to make jokes about sex because technically there's absolutely like nothing insulting about it. Um, but yeah, it was very fun. I love the to know more about his family. I didn't know anything about his family, and it was interesting how his brother called his dad by the first name from the age of 7. I did the same thing. I did that to my parents from the age of 6. And yeah, it's interesting. It's nice actually to hear about other people's families being not quite as how it should be or how they would have wanted it to be, but at the same time still trying to appreciate what it is that you've got. My family's a mess. My mom's mad, and my dad doesn't love me at all. So I can relate a lot to him. And I think that my dad's even worse than him because my dad can barely get a I can barely get a conversation from him. But anyway, it was nice to hear more about him, and to know actually that the difficulties, actually he says that when you go live on TV you have to have like a lawyer go through everything, which does sound very annoying. If you it must be it's such a hard thing to just stand and stay on in front of a stage or in an audience and then just talk and talk and talk, and make joke after joke after joke. And this must be such a hard thing. And sometimes you might bring up a joke that you'll be like, oh, I wasn't going to make this joke again, but here I've started it, I have to finish it. And I know that I would struggle to do that. It's such a hard thing to be able to talk and to just keep on talking and keep on. I was surprised this act actually lasted about, I think it was an hour and a half, and then there was a before act before. But I was impressed by that because I was kind of thinking it would be like 45 minutes or an hour maybe. So to do it for that long, and to feel like he really enjoyed it. I feel like he's got some amazing talent, and talent like this doesn't just come out in one life. I'm pretty sure he's had loads of lives. I think he's usually a male because I feel like he's had some lives as a female, but he had a huge amount of restrictions when in the past as a woman. So he's always best being a male, definitely. But I reckon if he has had a past life, I see him in a bar in during the World War One times, trying to cheer people up over what's happening and being very, very good, a very, very good comedian in the World War One. I don't know if he actually went off to war or anything, but I feel like he was the spark of the pub. I don't know, that I had that one vision, and I think had another vision of a circus, and this weird costumes that people were wearing, but it was a long, long time ago. And forefronting jokes. Maybe it was a clown, but it was like more of like a running a circus. So I think he's had a life as a circus entertainer. I think this was 1600s or something, like really early on. And I think a King's Jester as well is another one. That was a long time ago. I don't know. There's some of the visions that I've had when thinking, because he's got a huge amount of talent, and I was trying to listen to a lot of jokes, but then I kept my mind kept getting distracted and thinking about other things. But yeah, he was very, very good, and I think he's had loads of lives. And yeah, I think he's always gone down the comedian path. And think I would love to be able to just do that, just talk and talk and make so many jokes and feel so confident up at the stage. He was considerably, the first guy was great, yeah, but he was considerably better. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why is he so much better than the first one? And I was just getting all these visions of other lives that he might have had to get to the stage that he's at. But yeah, he's I He also made a joke about the world not caring about him, and I don't think that's the truth at all. But I feel like the world can be very can be a dark place, definitely. But hopefully things are going to get better in the future. And what else did I do today? I was looking at Harry Styles, and he actually brought up Harry Styles as well. I don't know. I was also trying to find if there's any evidence that he's actually watching my videos or if he knows anything about me, and I didn't really get that. He brought up God a couple of times. Um, to insult Christianity and people of that, which is fine and normal and should. Yeah, I don't like comedians who make jokes about God and then start making out that it's insane to actually believe in a God. I've seen a few of those jokes, and yeah, he's um, this one. I liked his jokes. And didn't always get them. Sometimes he'd mention a name. I was like, I don't know who that person is. But yeah. And then this morning I was looking through Harry Styles songs to give you a back history of this of his like. I never he was younger than me, and I try to stick with artists that are my own age. I know there's Justin Bieber and Selena who are younger, but I took an interest in them because I thought they were like the Jesus and Mary characters. And with Harry, I don't know, he was sort of a similar age, but I I, there was a few songs that this One Direction that band did about I don't know. You think you're so you don't think you're beautiful or something like that. I don't know. And what was the other one? There was one that really pissed me off, which was everyone's trying to get at your heart or something. And it was just like, yeah, that's just a really horrible song. So there was one or two songs that they did back in 2013, 14, 15 that made me didn't like them. So I just stopped listening to their band and stopped following their songs. And I noticed that he did go solo, but he had long hair at one stage, and I really didn't like that look or anything. So I've never really taken an interest in his songs. But I don't even know why I looked. I just this morning I was just thinking maybe I saw some adverts or something. I think when I'm going through Instagram, I came across an advert or two where they were talking about him. Or I don't know, just I've seen things that have made me just my head saying go look at his songs and I did finally look, and it's weird because that Watermelon song actually talks about the last day in June, and it's just like, or the end of June. It's like, yeah, this is the last day of June, and this just happens to be the day that I've decided to look through your songs. So, is that a coincidence? No, I don't think that is a coincidence. But yeah, I liked his songs as an individual, and he seems much older and maturer and a much nicer person. I don't know how he was when he was. I've heard things about his sexuality, about him maybe being gay or something. This doesn't bother me. I feel like his title is Angel of um, uh, companionship, and technically, I think most couples that are gay would might can say, we're not married, but this is a companionship. I think they would call it, but you can also have it as women, men, and straight couples calling themselves a companionship. I think I'm for marriage, but only if it's gonna like for kids' sakes. I think marriage is only really good for kids' sakes, where you have a kid and you use the marriage as a way of committing yourself to each other for the sake of kids. But sometimes it doesn't work out. Hence, marriage shouldn't be a way of forcing people together because people need to be allowed to change and grow and stuff. But a companionship is more where you just find someone and you settle down with them and you have a long-term relationship. But yeah, his older songs which I didn't like, or I felt like the band the One Direction had a lot of false love, a lot of fake love, a lot of I don't know. There was songs that seemed to indicate that they knew about me and then they heard about me, but they didn't take in any consideration as to the fact that I was going every day, night and day, like just wondering why are they doing these songs and yet not talking to me. That's something that will always be bothering me. How come so many people know about me and yet not one person is talking to me? And there's also another question, which is that why is it that I know that thousands of people are doing things about me behind my back, and I'm not just going to try and find these people and just say, hey, what are you doing? I feel like there's just something in my brain that stops me from doing that, and maybe you have the same thing inside your brain, something telling you to stop. The Madonna thing is annoying me a little bit. If she wants to do a tour, that's fine. It's completely her choice, but she's named it Celebration, and it's just like, yeah, I think that's a bit of an insult to do a tour when you know that all your songs are about me or my higher self, and to do a tour called Celebration and yet know that you're also doing it at a time when I'm still not celebrating. It's been 10 years, and if nothing happens in the next few months, I'm just convinced that nothing is going to happen in my lifetime, and you're all just waiting for me to die, which is something that has crossed my mind quite a few times, because I was convinced that it 100% would not be longer than 7 years, and I was pretty sure it wouldn't even be 7 years. I thought it'd be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then that when that didn't happen, 3.5, and then 5, and then it's just like, shit, you did all those songs, now you're going to ignore me for 7 years, and then I had that horrible thought for 7 years, and still nothing happened, and then now it's like 10 years, and what I still don't know if anything is going to happen, and what the woman who represents my higher self is doing a tour called Celebration, and yet still I don't know if anything's going to happen. I just feel like that's, if you would have called it something else, it wouldn't have bothered me. But just to call it that, it's just like, it's not a celebration for me, because I still don't know if this tribulation that I'm going through is going to end soon. So she can still do it. I think you should rename it. If you're going to make a tour called Celebration, just wait until I am actually celebrating, and not just feeling left out and confused as to why people are doing things about me behind my back, and celebrating whilst I'm not celebrating, which is bothering me. But I don't know what's happened. If I don't know if anything's going to happen. I was hoping that something would happen in July, but it doesn't look like it is, because I'm trying to get on a Big Brother show, and there's no indication that it's going to be on in July. So neither America or UK one's going to start then, not really, from whatever. But yeah, um, and I don't even think it is going to be a celebration when I do, because she's doing it 15th of July, and that's 15th of the 7th month, which is a Feast of Tabernacles, which was when I thought would be most likely that I'd go into some sort of Big Brother house, which would be the last weekend of September on the Jewish calendar. That is not my calendar, but I obviously have no control over the dates, so I'm just going to have to wait to see what happens. But yeah. Um, what else to say about the Harry Styles? Did I say everything about it? Yeah, I liked some of his new songs, but as the Angel of Companionship, I feel like when he was in the one band, companionship is where two people like each other, and a companionship without one person liking the other isn't really a companionship. So I feel like I like him now, but I like him now only after he left the One Direction band, and so I feel like he represents the angel of companionship, but only after he left the band. I think when he was still in the band, I didn't want to be his companion. I didn't really like him. I didn't really like the band. I didn't really like the songs. I thought some of the songs were just lying and just going in the wrong direction. But yeah, he is. Some of his songs are much better now. I like the robot one, and the fish one as well. Him finding a lonely fish and just trying to help it, and it's kind of nice. But anyway.